And I think at that stage, those moments of doubt just pop into your head. I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, why am I not like the others?
Princess Beatrice's world is shaken. Big whispers say a secret DNA test revealed a shock about her dad. Now people claim she's so upset, she cut off her family. This giant secret is already tearing the royals apart. But could this be the final bombshell that makes the ancient crown itself shatter into a million pieces before our very eyes? Princess Beatrice, a royal beginning clouded by whispers. The moment Beatrice Elizabeth Mary of York was born on August 8, 1988, she took her first breath in the fancy Portland Hospital in London, a place where many famous babies are born. And bam, she was royalty. Her dad was Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, who was one of Queen Elizabeth II's sons. That made Beatrice the Queen's granddaughter. Her mom was Sarah Ferguson, known to everyone as Fergie, the Duchess of York. Being the Queen's granddaughter is a pretty huge deal, like being in a real-life storybook. When Beatrice was just a tiny baby, she had a special ceremony called a christening. Think of it as a very important welcome party. It wasn't just any party, though. It was held in the Chapel Royal at St. James's Palace, a super old and super royal church in London that has seen centuries of kings and queens. Her parents picked special people to be her godparents, like guides for her life. Some of these godparents were rich and famous, and some were even royals from other countries. It was all very grand and official. But here's a funny little thing that makes you go, Prince Andrew and Fergie waited almost 2 whole weeks to tell the world Beatrice's name. Most parents are so excited, they shout the name from the rooftops right away. Why the delay? Were they just trying to pick the perfect name? Or were they already good at keeping things quiet even back then? It's a tiny detail, but sometimes tiny details can be clues to bigger things later on. Could this be a hint that secrets were already a part of the York family story, even from the very beginning? A few years later, in 1990, Beatrice got a little sister, Princess Eugenie. Now there were 2 little princesses in the York family. Imagine them playing in giant palace rooms with sparkling chandeliers and running through gardens so big they looked like parks. It sounds like a dream, doesn't it? Like something out of a Disney movie. They probably had nannies to look after them, ponies to ride, and all the toys a kid could wish for. But even for princesses, life isn't always a perfect fairy tale. Sometimes, sad things happen, even when you live in a castle. When Beatrice was only about 7 years old, something big and sad shook her world. Her mom and dad, Prince Andrew and Fergie, decided to split up. They got a divorce in 1996 after being separated for a few years. This was huge news all over the world. A royal divorce. People couldn't stop talking about it. It was like a real-life royal soap opera. Prince Andrew and Fergie told everyone they would still be good friends and would both help raise Beatrice and Eugenie. They even came up with a plan to share looking after the girls. The Queen, Beatrice's powerful grandma, made sure her granddaughters were taken care of. She set up something called a trust fund for them, which is like a special savings account, and put a lot of money in it. Reports said it was around 1.4 million pounds. That's like $1 gazillion to most of us. So, Beatrice and Eugenie definitely weren't going to be poor. A princess works extra hard. Like all kids, Princess Beatrice had to go to school. But she didn't just go to any ordinary school down the street. She went to some very fancy and expensive schools. First, there was Upton House School in Windsor, a town famous for its huge castle, where the Queen lived a lot of the time. Then she went to Coworth Park School. After that, from the age of 11, she became a boarder at St. George's School in Ascot, another posh town. These are the kinds of schools where many rich and important people send their children. The students wear smart uniforms, and the buildings often look like mini castles themselves. But even in these fancy schools, with all the best teachers and resources, Beatrice had a secret struggle. It was something she didn't talk about much at first. When she was 7 years old, doctors told her she had something called dyslexia. Now, what is dyslexia? It's a learning difference that makes it really, really hard to read and write. For someone with dyslexia, words on a page can look all jumbled up, like they're dancing around or letters are swapping places. Imagine trying to do your homework or read a storybook when the words just won't stay still. It can be incredibly frustrating. Beatrice herself has spoken about it since she grew up. She once said, "I remember we had different colored paper for dyslexia, and I was always asking, why and what is it, and what does it mean?" She also shared, "The most defining moment of my life was when I was 7, and they told me I had dyslexia. It was a gift and a curse." It was a big challenge for her. Reading out loud in class, writing essays, even just understanding the instructions for an assignment, all these things were much harder for Beatrice than for many of her classmates. Because of this, she even had to wait an extra year to take some really important exams called GCSEs. She took them when she was 17 instead of 16 like most kids, so she could be super ready and have the best chance to succeed. But did Beatrice let dyslexia beat her? Did she give up and say, "I can't do this"? No way. She was a super hard worker. She knew she had to put in extra effort, and she did. She studied and studied, probably spending many more hours on her homework than other students. And guess what? Her hard work paid off. She did great in her exams. She got an A in drama. Maybe she was really good at acting out stories and characters? That would make sense, as drama often involves understanding people and emotions, not just reading lines perfectly. And she got B's in history and film studies. Those are really good grades, especially for someone who finds reading and writing so tough. And get this, the other students at St. George's School liked and respected her so much that they picked her to be head girl in her last year. That's a huge honor. It's like being the school president or the captain of all the students. It shows that she wasn't just a shy princess hiding in the background. She was strong, smart, and people looked up to her. She even sang in the school choir, which must have been a fun way to be part of a team and express herself. When she turned 18, that's a big birthday for anyone, right? Well, for Princess Beatrice, it was huge. Her parents threw a giant, super fancy party for her at Windsor Castle. Can you imagine having your 18th birthday party in a real castle? It was a masked ball where everyone wore beautiful costumes and mysterious masks over their eyes. It must have felt like being in a Cinderella story. The theme was 1888, a throwback to Victorian times, and it was said to have cost a massive £400,000. They even had a super famous photographer, Mario Testino, take her special birthday picture. She looked all grown up and very glamorous. After finishing school at St. George's, she went to a big university called Goldsmiths, University of London. She studied history and the history of ideas for 3 years. And she did it. She got her degree. So Princess Beatrice wasn't just a princess with a pretty title. She had a good brain, and she wasn't afraid to use it, even when things were difficult for her. But what would she do after university? Would she just attend royal events and cut ribbons, or did she have other plans? The world was watching, and Beatrice was about to show them she was more than just a York princess. She was ready to carve her own path, but could she ever truly escape the long shadow of the royal family and its many, many secrets? The challenges she overcame in school were tough, but were they just a warm-up for even bigger battles ahead? The rumor, no matter where it came from, was very clear about one thing. The DNA results just didn't match up. They didn't show what everyone, including Beatrice herself, had believed her whole life. There was a big problem, a huge, undeniable mistake in the official royal family tree. A mismatch in the genetic code that you just couldn't explain away or sweep under the royal carpet. The DNA test, the Whispers insisted, pointed to a different man being Beatrice's real biological father. Not Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, son of the Queen. Someone else. And this someone else, the stories hinted, was probably not royal at all. He was probably just a regular person, an ordinary man, with no titles, no palaces, no connection to the centuries of royal bloodlines. So, if Beatrice isn't really Prince Andrew's daughter, what does that make her? A royal fraud or a stolen heir? Let us know in the comments, hit like, and subscribe for more.